name is Jen, as mentioned before, and I'm from the Gorilla Perfumes team. So I'm here today to help you gain confidence in giving your perfume consultations on the shop floor. Just so you know, this session will be run in English, but if there's any time that you're not quite sure what I mean or you'd like me to explain, please just raise your hand, because this session is for you. I'd like you to get the most out of it as possible, so don't be afraid to say. So, Gorilla Perfumes. I used to work in the Gorilla Perfume store in Islington, so that's in London, and it was the only perfume store in the world which was just Gorilla Perfumes. So every day I would meet lots of different types of customers who wanted a different perfume all the time, and we noticed that there was 3 main approaches that worked really well in the store. So the first approach we call the ingredients approach. So this is when a customer maybe suggests an ingredient that they really like, or there's a bit of a theme in the perfumes that they've used before. We then navigate our way through the scents based on ingredients. A second approach we call the storytelling approach. So lots of the perfumes here have quite detailed backstories to them, and we like to share these with customers so they've got a greater understanding of why the perfume was put together or why it has that particular name or artwork. And then the third approach, which I think is definitely my favourite approach, we called it the emotional approach. And this is where we used our own personal experiences and our own feelings to explore the perfume with customers. And it was the approach that had people in the shop for the longest, and we had lots of really lovely long and inspiring consultations with customers by using this approach. And for me, it seems so right that we talk about perfumes based on feelings, because that's quite often why they was created. Mark and Simon Constantine, who are our head perfumers for Gorilla, were often inspired by either art or music, and more often than not, a particular feeling or memory that they wanted to bottle. So that is why we like to use feelings and emotions to explore these perfumes. You all with me?
Yeah.
Amazing. So, to get our minds thinking in this way, I'm going to get you all to think of your favourite smell in the world. So not a Lush product, not a perfume, another smell, and I'd like you to describe how it smells to you. And then I'd like you to tell me how it makes you feel. So I'll share mine, and then we'll go round the circle this way, and we'll all share our favourite smells and how they make us feel. So for me, my absolute favourite smell is freshly baked bread. So if you go to the bakery, or if you're at home and you're baking bread and the smell fills the whole room, for me that smell is it's savoury and it's quite Moorish, but I find it a little bit creamy, if I could put a texture on that smell, and it makes me feel so comforted and happy. When I smell that smell, I know it's going to be a great day. So that's my favourite smell. Would you like to share yours?
Relaxed, peaceful, smell something old, like when I go to my grandma and I feel this old perfume, and I remember when I was a child and I played piano, or sometimes the perfume of the sea.
Of the sea?
Yeah,
yes.
When you relax in the sea and you feel the summer.
Thank you for sharing that. What we did there is we all visited everyone's memory of the scent, and that really is the first stages of the emotional connection to scent coming into play, because you thought back to something that connects a scent to an emotion, and they can be hard to describe, but once you've got something in your mind, it's easier to share it with the person. And this is exactly what happens in a perfume consultation. So now your mind is in the right place, I'm going to give you a strip of perfume, and I'd like you just to take a few seconds to smell the scent. You can close your eyes, and then I'm going to ask you some questions, and we're going to share with the group where the scent takes you in your imagination. It might start to smell different now from when you first sniffed it. And I would like you to think, where are you right now? Are you somewhere that you've been before? Or are you somewhere that's in your imagination? What's the weather like? Is it hot there? Is it cold? Is it raining? Who are you with? Are you on your own? Are you with friends? Are you with somebody? What are you wearing? Are you drinking or eating? And most importantly, how does it make you feel where you are? Okay, so I'll share mine with you, and then we'll go back round the circle and we can share exactly where this scent is taking us. So for me, I'm in a bar or in a pub, but I'm not in London. I'm outside of London in the countryside, and there's a fire and the smoke coming out of the chimney. I'm sitting on a very comfy chair, I've got lots of jumpers on, and I'm drinking a big glass of red wine, and I'm so happy. And I'm very calm and cozy, but I'm laughing, I'm having fun as well. Would you like to share where you are?
I'm in a garden, and I just walk away.
So it's a windy day, you're in the garden and you're walking. Can you feel the wind in your hair? Yeah. It has that kind of fresh feel to it. Thank you.
All violet around me, and I love violet and purple. It's my favorite color. Really relaxed, and I feel in perfect connection with everything around me. I love this smell.
And I feel really excited about almost like finding a treasure somewhere. So it's got that sort of smell of something old that already exists, but then it's that smell of, oh, I might discover that.
It reminds me of a vintage shop as well. Thank you. What happened there was we used our feelings and our memories to match to a scent that has been presented to us. So we may have never smelt this scent before, or we might know it, but maybe it reminded you of something that you wouldn't normally connect to the scent. So we was on holiday, we was in York, we was with the dog by the sofa, by the fire on the sofa. So we all visited slightly different spaces in our imaginations with the scent. And this is a really lovely thing to do with your customers. So you can sit down with them here and just present them with a scent and say, where are you? And they can tell you, and you can explore where you are with the customers. And it creates a really lovely opening for a discussion or a consultation with the perfumes, because it's based on something that comes from yourself and themselves, if that makes sense. Just really quickly, I'd like you to match a colour to this scent and tell me what colour would you match?
Yellow.
Yellow?
White.
Blue?
Yellow.
Red?
Orange.
Orange?
Pink.
Pink?
Purple.
Purple? Brown?
Brown. White.
White? I get dark purple as well. And we're actually all smelling exactly the same scent here, and we've all thought of a different scenario and a slightly different colour as well. So it's another thing, it's important to remember that when you're with your customers, they will be smelling the perfume slightly different to how you'll be smelling it, to how you will smell it. We all get something slightly different from a scent, and especially when they go on the skin as well. They all smell so different too. So just have that in mind when you are with your customers, because sometimes it's nice to open the consultation out by seeing what each other gets from the scent. Okay. So now you've seen and you've played around with using the emotional approach, I'm going to show you how to use it within a consultation. So I'm going to be giving a consultation to Antonia here, but I would like you to all watch very carefully, because I'm going to be asking you to tell me exactly what you noticed from the consultation. So if you gather round, we're going to be using the sit down consultation area so you can see exactly how it works. My customer, I met her at the door, and we have had maybe a little bit of a shop tour, haven't we? We've seen a few things. She's got a basket of products with her as well, but I don't know how she feels about perfume. I've got no idea, so I'm going to ask her. So tell me, are you the type of person that uses just one perfume all the time, or do you have a couple of different ones at home?
Say I have a couple of different ones.
Okay. And do you wear them on different days? How do you make a decision about what you're going to wear?
Like recently I've noticed that there's one specific perfume that I wear on colder days.
Okay.
And there's another one that I wear when the weather is a bit warmer.
Okay, so you're kind of inspired by the weather a little bit.
Yeah.
What do you wear on a cold day?
I wear something really spicy, really heady, like really deep, to just make me feel as warm as possible and brave for the cold.
Yes. And what type of scent would you like to wear on a day like today?
Something really light
Okay.
and uplifting. My favourite fragrance when the weather is like this smells like figs.
Okay.
So it reminds me of home, just something really uplifting and green and fresh.
Okay. Well, while you were speaking, I had a few ideas about some perfumes that kind of make me feel a similar way, and ones that I would like to wear, because it's quite a warm day for us today, isn't it? We're not used to this. So for us, this is the warmest day of the year.
Hence the sandals and the short sleeves in the
Yeah.
summer.
So this scent here, I put this on a nice warm day when I'd like something to kind of give me a little boost of energy. But it's got quite a nice sweet warm feel to it. See what you think of this one. It's instantly happy, and your face lit up when you smelt this scent.
It's so fresh. Really fresh.
What kind of smells are you getting from this one?
This is like flowers on a citrus tree. Yeah.
You're right. In this one we use some orange oil and some mimosa as well, so it kind of gives it that citrus with a tiny little floral twist at the end of it. How does that make you feel?
Happy.
Happy?
Really uplifting.
Okay. If you like the floral side of that, and you also mentioned that you quite liked green smells, so something that I also find them to be quite fresh. We've got this one here. Yes. So for me, this one starts off quite green, but on some people's skin this can go really lovely and sweet. So it kind of, it's a good one to try on because it does really vary.
Yeah. I feel like it's really relaxing,
Yes.
this one, yeah. It's got a sweet element, but it's got that earthiness as well.
Yeah, absolutely. This one is our violet scent, so you can smell a lot of the violet flower there. But we use a tiny touch of jasmine in here too. So for me, I find that kind of gives it a little kick at the end that keeps it nice and sweet.
I like that one.
Okay. Speaking of sweet scents, there's just one more that does have a little bit of jasmine in it too, which is this one here. And this settles so beautifully on the skin and so different again. Some people get really kind of buttery, fudgy scents from this. And others it goes quite dry.
Yeah.
What do you think of this one?
It's just like a big hug.
Yes. It's quite different from
Yeah.
the scents that you described, but sometimes sweet on a warm day can really work for some people, so I thought it'd be good to try.
It's really comforting. Really comforting. Smells like freshly baked cake.
It does. So the best way to get to know our perfumes is to try them on, like I mentioned, because especially curbside and either sun or vanillary can change so much on the skin. So I definitely recommend trying the middle scent on, if that's all right with you. And would you maybe like to try the sweet one or the first one, which you had that lovely happy smile when you smelt it?
First one.
The first one?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one on one wrist and one on the other, if that's all right with you. So we'll start with the first one. So I'll just pop some on here for you. And remember, this one will settle. So what you smell to begin with, we normally call those the top notes. So that's the smells that will tickle your nose, the ones that you'll pick up to be really zesty. And then those base notes will develop because this scent has a base of sandalwood, so it's going to dry down and get a little woodier and a little softer with time. Let me spray the other one on your skin too, because this has some lovely green top notes, and it'll be interesting to see whether it goes sweet on you or stays nice and fresh and green.
Ooh. Yeah, it's really
May I smell?
Yeah. It smells so different than it did on the smelling strip.
Instantly so different.
It's so green. And it just smells like a sunny day.
I love this.
It smells really good.
Which one would you wear on a day like today?
Both.
Both together.
One arm of each. I don't know. Probably this one.
Okay.
Yeah. Because it just gives me that almost like refreshing feeling that I would want. I feel like it would ground me quite well.
Absolutely, yeah. Lovely.
Thank you.
So we're going to stop our consultation there. Tell me, right from the beginning, what did you notice? What did I ask my customer to begin with?
Use only one perfume
during the day.
Yeah. It's important to understand how my customer uses perfume, because you wouldn't give a skincare consultation without asking, what do you normally do? What's your lifestyle? Do you have time? Sometimes some people wear the same scent all the time, and then other people have lots of different scents that they wear on different days. So I find it's nice to pinpoint this to begin with. Then you know where perfume stands in this customer's life, ready for the consultation. And then, what questions did I ask?
You ask him.
Yeah. So Antonia told me it's normally based on mood, but also you was quite inspired by the weather. So she described a cold day to me, but I knew that today is a much warmer day in comparison to that. So I kind of looked for almost the opposite styles of scent to match nicely in with that. What do you think of my choices and the order that I presented them in? Yes. I linked them together, but I purposely chose some quite different scents so that my customer could have quite a well-rounded experience of the perfumes as a collection. If I showed this scent and my customer said, I love citrus, I love the way that this smells so zesty, I may have moved my selection maybe to something like this.
Okay.
Or if Antonia said actually vanillary was amazing, maybe I would have picked something like this selection here.
Yeah.
So be ready to tailor, to change your ideas based on the customer's reaction. Sometimes I won't always present the 3 bottles in front of them. Sometimes I keep it in my mind. So if they do react like no, then I know to change my approach and to show them something completely different.
And then she didn't see the
bottle, the name. She didn't have it in front of her.
And I didn't say the name either. I used the words that my customer described perfumes, and I called them things like the first scent or the citrusy one or the sweeter one. I think when you're using someone's language that they've already used, it puts you at ease, and they're also not confused about which scent was which, or maybe they might get distracted by the name. Absolutely, yeah. I always use a smelling strip for myself and a smelling strip for my customer. If Antonia was here with 2 friends, I'd be bringing seats for them to come and sit down, and I would give everybody, including myself, a smelling strip so they can smell the scent. And I never like to be shy with this moment. You can always create some shop floor theatre with this. And when I'm spraying the strip, I always do a couple of spritzes on each side just to make sure it's really clear that you can smell the perfume. And I always present the strip so the customer knows exactly where to pick it up. You don't want to be like, oh, do you want to smell this? You can be really confident and present them the strip. Sometimes I have a little sniff myself just to make sure I've made the right choice, but also to kind of build up that excitement. I sometimes smell the strip for the whole time that we're talking, and it encourages the customer to continue to smell it as well, because the scent does change on the nose a little bit with time. So thank you for pointing that out. Yeah, keep it very positive. Perfume is a quite personal area of the shop, and the consultations can be quite personal, so keep it enjoyable and a happy experience for your customer. Yeah, I like to get my customer to do a lot of the talking in the consultation, because really I'm finding a scent for them. They don't always need to know exactly what I smell in the scent. It's nice to discuss what the other person is getting from it. And also sometimes when you know what's inside, you can look for it with your nose. So it's nice to keep it open and almost like a blank slate for the customer. Absolutely. And it's really nice to create those bonds yourself with the scent. So in a consultation, you have something honest to share about how the scent makes you feel.
You can really use this as a tool to speak to your customers, because it's okay if you don't know every single ingredient that's in the perfume, or you're not very sure about the perfume. Just use your nose, use your imagination, and just let the scent guide you to what you want to say to a customer.
Sometimes it's important to let the perfume sit on the skin and the customer to even experience a whole day wearing the scent while they're shopping in other shops. As long as they know what scent you put on them or where they got it from, quite often customers buy the perfume another day, not the same day that they've tried it on. So that's why spraying it on the skin is so important. So the perfume range is one of the most expensive and precious ranges in the shop. So I do think it's really important how you hold and present the bottle. I like to think of it as like a fine wine in a restaurant. You don't want to be playing with it or hanging off the end of the table or anything like that. It's nice to have all the labels facing the front and just treating the product with a lot of respect, because you want the customer to see that as well. And lastly, where did I spray it on Antonia's skin? I protected her clothing, but I used the whole arm. When you're giving a shower demo or a massage, you tend to use the whole arm. So definitely go ahead and do that with the perfume. 2 or 3 solid spritzes of the scent means that it's nicely dispersed on the skin. Means your customer will definitely be able to smell it later. But then when you're smelling it on each other, you don't have to be searching for the scent, if that makes sense. So with that in mind, I would like you now to all pair up, and you have a little job to do. I would like you to find a scent for your partner to wear on their opening first few shifts of this store. So something to wear when you're doing the VIP night, when you open up and you're wearing a new scent that's gonna remind you of new beginnings and exciting times. So discuss with your partner how they're feeling about the opening and what kind of scents you think they might like to wear, and get it on their skin. Spray it on and encourage them to wear it on their first few shifts, and maybe your supervisors might be checking with you closer to the time that you've got your scent on, and it's going to start creating those memories for you and those connections. So it's a really fun way to do it. So if we've got pairs here, two, and then you two. Okay. So chat with your customer. You've got roughly about 5 to 10 minutes. So I'll be giving you a 1 minute warning when it's time to swap over. All with me? Lovely. It's all yours.
Vaniglia ti piace?
How did you find that? Interesting? Yeah. Okay, so different from the other areas of the shop floor, so it's nice to take a new approach. This is a new and a really beautiful feature of your store, so be sure to use it and to make your customers feel really, really comfortable.
Thank you.
Thank you.